There's a medical call. We have to have someone through here.
Everybody start to take your seats, please. questions answered. You know, I don't want you to feel like we're brushing you off, but I do want us to think about and be conscientious if our questions are individualized. I want you to hold that till after at the end of the day and not during a session. Because if it's a question about your individual experience, it's not applicable to everyone else. So please be conscientious about that and hold that until the end after we're done for the day. It sounds to me like y'all got really confused. I know I'm confused. Yesterday and the day before about this whole evening class stuff. So over break, I sent Miriam an email and asked her, told her I was confused. I really wasn't sure. I wanted to get it from her. And I asked her to send me verbatim what she wants me to tell you so I don't mess it up. And here's what she says. Here is what students need to know. Full-time foundation students, that's full-time foundation students, so part-timers, this is not you, are in block field next week. It could be part-time students, or some part-time students in block for the whole week?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so this would apply to you. Field next week of August 27th. Most full-time foundation face-to-face required MSW courses meet on Mondays and Tuesdays. These face-to-face classes, weekday, daytime, or evening, will not meet next week, August 26th and 27th. There are no classes on Monday, September 2nd, Labor Day. That means that regular face-to-face Monday classes, daytime and evenings, begin on September 9th. Regular face-to-face Tuesday classes, daytime and evening, begin on September 3rd. That would be the day after Labor Day. Students attending these Monday and Tuesday evening classes in Columbia will receive a reminder email from Ms. Spann, so y'all need to check your email tonight for all this information about when their classes start. Face-to-face evening classes in Columbia begin at 5:30 p.m. Saturday classes begin on August 24th, so that would be this Saturday, in Columbia, Charleston, and Greenville. Some students taking online foundation classes, for example, 712 or 741, these classes will be available online next week. 712 begins on August 26th, and 741 begins on August 28th. These classes begin at 6 p.m. Some students are taking psychopathology, 760 online. The Thursday section begins on August 22nd. The Wednesday section begins on August 28th. The Tuesday evening social work 741 face-to-face class in Charleston will start on September 3rd at 6 p.m. The Wednesday evening 722 face-to-face class in Charleston will start on September 4th at 6 p.m. The Thursday evening 732 face-to-face class in Charleston does meet on August 22nd, which that would be tomorrow night, at 6 p.m., but not on August 30th. For those of you that are here and need to be there, then you can leave at 3 tomorrow to make it to class. Unless you all work out something different, well, that's a personal one to me. I have asked all instructors, she's asked all instructors to email the students in their class sections via Blackboard to remind them of the first day of class. If we can get this out on the student learner, she's going to try to do that too. So this is the latest information just sent to me by our Associate Dean, Dr. Johnson, and she's kind of reiterated what we have, and that is, and what Jennifer was saying, is you got to contact that individual class instructor. She's encouraged them to send you an email, and you should be getting an email from Francis Spann, but that's where we are with things. Yes?
So that applies to online as well?
Yes, because that's a holiday. So that will not happen. And there we have it. All right, we're going to pick back up, and I'm not sure what's going on tech-wise. We got some issues, maybe. There we go. Jennifer, maybe I did this? Ah, interesting. All right, Jennifer, we're ready to have you come back up and finish up with our policies, procedures, and protocols. All right, everybody have a good lunch? Everybody awake? We're good. Okay. So I'm going to pick back up where we left off. forgot about my PowerPoint. Oh. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So basically there's only a couple other things that I wanted to cover with you guys. One thing I wanted to cover was field grades. We get a lot of questions about field grades. Field is a pass or fail class, okay? But the university just likes to make things complicated. So it's not actually P or F, it's U for unsatisfactory and S for satisfactory. So if you get an S, that means you passed, okay? The only other options for field grades is incomplete, which would show up as an I on your transcript or on VIP. Now you would get an I if for some reason you didn't meet the total number of hours for the semester. So if you had an illness, you had a death in the family, you had something happen, you had a disruption in your placement, you would need to notify us ahead of time and let us know you're not going to reach your total number of hours for the semester. The other grade that we utilize is the grade of no record, or NR. And basically, let's say you owe a week of field, and you have a plan to make it up before January or during January, you would get a grade of NR because you have a plan in place already for how you're going to make up the hours. The incomplete is basically if you need a very extended amount of time to make up the hours, or if, for example, you just fall off the map. All of a sudden you just stop going to field, stop going to class, we don't know what's going on with you. You would receive an incomplete grade. Like Mike said before, I'd just like to reiterate, Dr. Reitmeyer is the person that does give your grade for field. That grade is based on your timesheet submission and your evaluation, okay? So if you don't if you don't send us in a timesheet, you might get an NR until we have your timesheet to verify that you did the hours. If we get an evaluation, let's say worst case scenario, we get an evaluation, it's all failing grades, all failing scores on your evaluation. Dr. Reitmeyer would contact your field instructor, your field liaison, she would contact you. She wouldn't just automatically fail you in field because she received a failing evaluation. There would be additional dialogues and additional meetings. So I don't want anybody sitting in here going, oh my gosh, what if my field instructor doesn't like me? It gives me a failing evaluation for failed field. Okay? It's really hard to fail field. You have to try to fail field. Okay? Any questions about grades? No? Okay. And what I wanted to go over next, I'm assuming this is somewhere in your packet, but basically I want to give you guys kind of a roadmap for what you should be talking about and thinking about for block week next week. Do you know what page it's on? The orientation checklist? Page 25? Okay, great. Yes, Rhoda. So basically, there's a lot of things that you guys need to be doing, asking, and looking into next week. Obviously, you guys, if you haven't done so already, you guys want to get down the basic stuff. Where do I park? What time do you want me to arrive? What protocols do I need? So for example, let's say you're in a hospital. You're in a residential treatment unit. You're in a locked, how many of you guys are in a correctional facility? There's a couple of you. What's the procedures and protocols for me actually just physically getting into the building? What can I bring into the building with me? Okay? Some places, like for example, when I've done field visits out of the Department of Juvenile Justice, can't bring my cell phone in with me, can't bring my keys in with me. These are things you want to know ahead of time. Obviously, if you haven't done so already, you want to have a dialogue about dress code, which kind of goes back to our conversation from this morning. What should I wear? What can I not wear? Some organizations have policies against open-toed shoes. Might be a violator. You have to have closed-toed shoes or sneakers or specific footwear in place. You want to make sure that you're in compliance with their dress code. You need to figure out what to do if you're going to be late. Life happens. You're going to be late. You're going to have a flat tire. You're going to get sick. How do I contact you? That's what you need to ask your field instructor, okay? Because they're not at the office 24 hours a day. Would you prefer that I email you? Would you prefer that I contact you? If so, what number? And, you might also want to ask, what time can I call you? I wouldn't want to be called at 11 o'clock at night. So, ask these questions ahead of time. What do I do if I get to field and you're out sick that day? Who should I report to? Who's my next in line? I always tell students a good thing to ask during block week is, are there projects that I can work on when it's slow? Okay? agencies have rhythm and flow, guys. You guys know what I'm talking about? You have busier times and quieter times. So is there a long-term project that I can work on? Something that I can pick up and drop at any point when it's slow? Because nobody wants to sit at field with nothing to do for an hour, right? And we've already kind of talked about the fact that it's not appropriate just to do your homework and your reading for 741 or 742 in field. So for foundation field, an assignment that a lot of our film instructors have you guys do is a referral book for clients. They may actually have you guys research all the available community resources and put together a referral book, or update a current referral book for an organization. So these are things you want to ask. What are things I can do when there's downtime? Definitely, and this kind of goes back to professional presentation, guys, you want to ask them about cell phone usage and internet use. Okay, a lot of your organizations are going to have internet access. Does that mean that you can get on Facebook? No. Does that mean you can just download all your course assignments off Blackboard? No. So you guys need to ask, even though they have these things, is it okay? Can you bring your cell phone into work? If so, is it okay to take calls or accept calls? How many of you guys in here are parents? Okay. Do you need to be accessible to your children? Generally, yes. So these are dialogues you want to have with your field instructor. I'm going to have my phone on me when I'm here in field, and I'm just letting you know it's because my child's in kindergarten or I need them to be able to get a hold of me. So how would you like me to go about addressing personal phone calls that I need to take? Okay? You do not want to be in the middle of a meeting with your field instructor, the clinical director, and the treatment team. Like, yes, you can have that snack. I'll talk to you later. Okay? These are dialogues you want to have with your field instructor ahead of time. Okay? Let them know, I know we're in this meeting, but I may have to step out, so they know what you're doing. Okay? So they don't think that you're just taking a call about lunch plans. Okay? It's really important to ask questions about the neighborhood. Not only about the organization, but the neighborhood. Is this a safe area for me to park my car? If I'm here late, is this an area where I need to be concerned? Are there any safety concerns that I need to know about the organization? We're going to get into safety a little bit later, but you guys need to ask safety-related questions. Every organization that you guys are in has safety policies, procedures, and protocols. Okay? This is stuff you need to read. I know you guys are all going to get in the block next week, and they're going to give you a policy manual about this big. Say, read it. Okay? You're not going to read the whole thing. But I would really encourage you guys to really spend some time on the safety sections and the policy section, because that's really important, because you need to know what to do if you have an emergency with a client. And then also, I think you guys really need to spend some time trying to just get to know your field instructor. You know, I mean, we're going to talk about this with supervision, but one of the most important things to have with your field instructor is what? Rapport. Anything else? Trust. Thank you. Trust. Get to know your field instructor, okay? How many of you guys have worked with a supervisor you didn't trust? How was that? Not fun, right? Did you feel comfortable asking that person questions? No. Did you feel comfortable telling that person that you might have made a mistake? Oh, no. No. Okay? So try to get to know your field instructor. Ask them questions about your relationship with them. Do they have an open door policy, and what does that mean? If you're working on something and you have a question, can you just walk right into their office and ask them a question? Or would they prefer that you wait till specific points in the day to pop in? Some of you guys might have field instructors who aren't physically housed with you, right? They're in a different location, different building. Can I email you? Can I text you? Can I call you? Okay? You guys need to have a dialogue with them about supervision. Do I need to schedule supervision with you? Is there anything that I need to know about for scheduling supervision, preparing for supervision? You guys really need to ask all of these things. Kind of just do the framework for the whole semester. Ask all of these important questions. So, I think I've covered everything about block. Are there any questions about grades, orientation to block? No? Okay, I think we're good. And we're going on to Mike. Thanks, guys.
Dr. Wolford.
First test is what is the address for Blackboard? All right, has everybody been on this site? We're going to do the fast version of taking your new class, new paper, using it, and then putting it back in your desk. Yeah, actually, I got put in as a student in your class. So you get in there, you go over here to my courses. There we go. 781. Wait for your connection for a while. Okay. As has already been mentioned, most of the forms that you need for field are going to be in here in your Blackboard class. So your time sheet, I think a copy of the manual, other materials. This is where you can find it. It's also where you will turn things back in. Time sheet, your learning contract will be safe assigned areas for you to turn them in like they're assignments. That's what Dr. Brutmeyer can access all this. So when you go in here, first where it says course documents, and there's our list of course documents thus far that are in there. I'm going to go to the timesheet right now. It's going to ask me if I want to open or save it. I'm going to save it. There it is. These are other things that are on here. So this is what your timesheet looks like before you've done anything to it. Most of the time you can fit one semester on one timesheet, although it's made, I've seen students turning like 3 of them, I think they did 7. A little bit. Once you have your timesheet, you can print it out, fill it out. Your field instructor is going to have to sign off on it. And then you can save it. Does not name it so you know what it is. The neat thing about Blackboard, when you put it in as yours into Blackboard, everything that goes to Blackboard gets your name across the top of it when your teacher prints it out. So when Dr. Brutmeyer goes to hold on to information, let's say your learning contract comes in 4 pages, your name is all on the front page. Your name's going to be at the top of all 4 pages when she goes to access it. So she does know that it's returned. So that has been saved. You can write a shut all the things to look at. It's been saved onto the desktop. So now when I want to go to turn something in, I go to assignments. Click on that. These again are assignments that are created by the instructor for the course. This is my timesheet, so I'll do view and complete. It names it. Sometimes there's special instructions, those are things the teacher fills in. If there's any kind of comments that I want to make, I'm all done. And then I go to attach my file. You can take it, you can pull it from a flash drive if you have it there. There we go. And that's submit that file. Yep.
So you only need to.
Correct. Oh, there we go. You get this big thing here. This is a spot where students have trouble, I will tell you, in all your classes, and in this one in particular. When it says it's uploading it, you don't do anything. You really don't do anything. You cancel out of the browser, you close it, it most likely lost whatever you wrote. Depending upon your connection or the time of the year, this can take a long time. Hopefully we won't do that right now. But if you wait until the last minute, when 500 of your closest friends are all trying to upload the same document to the same teacher's course, some of you are just going to get bumped out and miss it. So try to do that in your time.
So since we're supposed to have our field instructors sign off, do we have to scan this document on the computer and then attach it that way?
Yes.
Is there an option to hand it in?
No, but I will talk about scanner in a minute. Yeah. Well, while we wait on this, and then you'll be like, I'll show it to you next time. The way it works for scanning, some of you, have access to a scanner either in your home or in your workplace. And so you can scan the document after it's been signed off, save it to your flash drive or your desktop, and then do the same process of uploading. If you don't have access to a scanner, you go to the social work computer lab, which is in Thornwell. Right know where Thornwell is? Right across the parking lot from Destin Shore. And there is a computer lab that is just for social work students in there. There is one scanner. When you go in the lab, little desk station like this, got a little scanner next to it. It looks like a very tiny copy machine with just a flip top with the page down on top of it, On the desktop for that computer is not used for anything else. It is only used for the scanner. And so on the desktop on that computer, there's a little icon and it says scanner 600 or something like that. The scanner is right here. It's got the name of it. That's the name of the desktop icon. Awesome. You double click on the icon, it opens up the little box, and the little light on the scanner comes on. Put down your paper. That's pretty much it, man. Paper in there. It'll start scanning it right away. It is a little freaky because you didn't hit a button yet, but it scans it as soon as you put something on it. It's like scanning your hand. And then it'll give you a box that says Save As, and that's where you're going to name it, my timesheet, whatever. You also need to choose to save it as a PDF. It'll let you save it in about 18 different formats. Most of them, I don't know what they are. But scroll down until you see PDF. You can save it as a PDF. Then my suggestion is save it to the desktop right there on that computer. And then you can upload it right away if you want to. Email it to yourself to make sure you have a copy that way. You can pop a flash drive in there and save it, But that way you see that it's there on the desktop. And that's the way that scanner works. Also, when you're done running a scan, make sure you totally close that operation. Because anyone who comes in after you, I can walk in there, and if the scanner's still open, I can look at history of scans. And I can save everything that anybody's used on that scanner because they didn't close it. Last year when my office was next to the computer lab, me and my GA at the time actually assisted a lot of students with doing this. because we started going over there at 5 o'clock, and I can see like 8 or 9 timesheets, just people didn't shut it. So you've got personal information on there. Just make sure you get what you need, and then shut it out. This one obviously does not want to upload my simple assignment. One of the other things, and I think, you know, the date, the time cut you're gonna make yet?
Right, it's for time sheet, yeah. Well, I have it early. I mean, you'll have a couple of communications. And just the thing on scanning it in, you just scan it in a time sheet.
Yeah.
Y'all need to figure this out. This is your responsibility. It's not the field instructor's responsibility. It's not my responsibility. And it certainly is not Lee's responsibility in the lab. So you got time to plan to figure out how to do it. I think Mike's been very gracious, and I know I sound like a bad cop, but we had a real issue with this last year because students thought that somebody else was gonna scan this for them, and it's really just scanning a timesheet in, this is all I ask you to turn in is this timesheet, right? And your learning contract. So take the time to figure it out. I know P&A's got a scanner, so they'll be able to help you with that. And most of the agencies do it. If they don't, Mike was gracious, gave the instructions for the computer lab, but I'd encourage you to check it out before December 13th, the last day classes. I like to have the timesheets as early as possible. If your last day of field is December 6th, just go ahead and make that part of your termination for the end of the semester and go ahead and get it in. That's where the problem ends up, is people end up jamming up around December 13th. You gotta remember, grades are due around then. So if you don't get it to me by December 6th, that fits me. I'm gonna be more likely to give you an NR than I am, because I've got a deadline to meet in posting grades. So you gotta get it in there, you gotta get it uploaded. The reason it's better to upload it and why I do not accept it being turned in or emailed is because it sends to me by your name. So I have a document with your name on it. A lot of people will just have a time sheet. And what does that mean? I've got to go through 5 steps to figure out who it is and what it's about. I like it in Blackboard because it keeps it as a matter of record. I can go back and access it, and I can prove that you deserve the grade that I've given you. Because there's your time sheet, and there's your learning contract, and then we have your field instructors complete evaluations through an electronic means as well that I have a quick record to. And I think it went on for a long time about it, but it really was a big issue last year.
Yes.
And I just want to encourage you to practice it now. Now would be the time. Go hang out in the computer lab and figure out the scanner. Yes.
Yeah, just a small point of information. There's like 15 computers with scanners on the floor below the ground floor in the Thomas Cooper Library.
Fantastic.
They're real easy to use. You can't really go wrong.
Excellent. Thank you for that information. Yes, over here. 1, 2.
Also, would it be allowable to use like a turbo scan app for your phone? An app that you can photograph a document and it transfers it into PDF?
That's fantastic. As long as Blackboard will take it, I'm cool with that.
It's called turbo scan, and I think it's like $1.99. It's fantastic.
Okay, great. But just remember what Cliff said earlier about confidential, sensitive information. Remember, if you lose your phone, other people will have access to it. What I encourage students to do is put a pass lock on your phone. So if you are going to be using your phone as a new method for cool stuff, make sure that information is protected. Yes. Just at the end of each semester. Now, your liaison will check in with you to see where you are with your hours and your time. So the best method of practice is every time you meet for supervision, have your field instructor sign off on the hours. You shouldn't be waiting till the end of the semester to calculate and figure out hours, right? You do it as you go. So that way, all you gotta do is when it gets to the end and you're done and y'all sign off, whew, you just gotta upload it at the end of the semester.
Especially if your supervisor is not someone you see like every day you're in there.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to go back to the calendar and be like, well, you know, on the 12th, that was the day I had to leave at 1, and this is the day that I came in and make up for it. That is really difficult to do a month and a half later.
Okay, my question is in relation to how long it took to be able to get.
Yeah, it's still doing.
And I believe you when you're doing that. My concern, I know this is approximately answered, but approximately how long before you recognize those days?
Yes.
Maybe some computers have
Typically, this is probably the
not been updated.
It's the Wi-Fi in here, and the updating of Blackboard, the server, and that kind of stuff. Typically, when you go in to upload any kind of assignment, paperwork into Blackboard, it's instantaneous. I mean, as quickly as I downloaded that document, typically it does it that way. Now, the part it's not going to let me show you,
People didn't have a problem uploading unless you had a problem scanning.
but I will tell you, when you go
Believe it or
to,
not.
to know if it's successful,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be able to show you this because mine's not going to be successful, but to know if it's successful, when you go back to that original blank that had the, let's see if we cancel it, had the assignment spot. When you go into the grade center, my grade center, so it's got all the assignments in here. But there it is. See the time sheet? Right here, it would actually have an exclamation point. Once it received your time sheet, it's going to have a little yellow highlighted exclamation point. And that means you successfully uploaded it. The teacher has not put a grade on it or accepted it yet, or, means they haven't